Weather Scope is sponsored by Kellogg's, the best to you each morning.
This is Weather Scope.
A storm system spreading across the east promises to produce an extremely rainy day from New York to the Carolinas and the potential for severe weather across much of the south. Good afternoon, I'm Mike Bono. For the latest on the storm status at this hour, we go to Rich Johnson in the Forecast Center.
All right, thank you, Mike. We continue to follow severe thunderstorms in Oklahoma. Those have been sinking southward out of Kansas since late this morning. Also, thunderstorms starting to develop across the deep south. Let's start with the latest with the watches into Oklahoma as well as North Carolina. Our severe weather watches in these areas here as this one cluster of storms heads to the south, also into North Carolina. We're watching a nasty line of storms just to the east of Durham and north of Raleigh. Other big storms now across areas of central Alabama and over to middle Georgia. First of all, let's take a look at the radar out of Kansas, and a couple of fairly large storms heading out of Kansas into northern Oklahoma. This is what we're watching here, so if you're traveling up I-35, watch for storms. Some of these may contain some large hail. In fact, already out of Alfalfa County and Woods County, roughly 1-inch hail. So as the day wears on, more heating, we will likely see thunderstorms to develop, which could be severe, and actually some of the hail will be larger than 1 inch. Into the deep south around Atlanta, you've seen some storms today. Montgomery, looking at some storms all the way to the north of Jackson. That is along some of those outflow boundaries. In other words, that cold rush of air down thunderstorms that sometimes sets up the conditions which are more favorable for development right along that boundary of that cold air. Well, this is what we're looking at across North Georgia, east central Alabama, heading over toward Columbus, maybe out to around Auburn. You're looking at some thunderstorms. Thunderstorms around Atlanta beginning to calm down, but still on the east side of town. So if you're heading out 20 or up 85, you still may see some thunder showers for the rest of this afternoon. Checking the radar up the road a piece, heading into North Carolina. Thunderstorms now just bypassing Durham and heading just to the north of Raleigh. Anywhere from over toward Rocky Mount, maybe up to Roanoke Rapids. Watch out for these storms coming on in. They may have some big hailstones with them. Well, speaking of some of the rain, around Washington, D.C. earlier today, the rain started and the umbrellas were out. And yeah, temperatures into the 60s accompanied the rain today. Just remember, a few days ago, these folks were dealing with temperatures over 100 degrees. So the weather has been very topsy-turvy in the Northeast. Very dry weather. Now the wet weather's coming in and quite a bit cooler, setting up for the weekend too. Well, here's the clouds over D.C. and much of Pennsylvania with that rain settling on in. Over to Boston, though, just off to your south, reports of some severe weather. I'll get to that in just a second. Here's the larger view showing the rain stretching across south central New York State over toward Philadelphia, the Amish country, seeing some rain over to Baltimore and D.C. Checking the radar a little bit more closely out toward Plymouth County, just to the south of Boston. A couple reports of tornado touchdowns. In fact, one was located near the Whitman area. That warning has just expired about 2 minutes ago, but there's potential for additional tornadoes to develop. Doesn't look very threatening, but again, this area, Plymouth County right here, a couple thunderstorms with possibly tornadoes. Heading farther down the road, down to New York City, here comes rain. It is going to be a steady light to moderate rain today, so it's going to be a soggy rush hour around New York City, also Philadelphia. It appears that the rain is going to stick in about through rush hour, and then it's probably going to let up. But heading down to Baltimore and D.C. after you've seen some showers and actually steadier